I'll never forget the day I stood in that crowded conference hall, watching my father's face drain of every last drop of color as the massive screen behind me flashed the headline, "Tech Startup Founded by Overlooked Daughter, Valued at $450 million. He was sitting in the front row, wearing the same smug grin he'd worn for decades whenever my sister's name was mentioned. But in that moment, as applause thundered around him and reporters swarmed me instead of her, that grin shattered, and I felt nothing but pure, ice-cold satisfaction. Let me take you back so you understand exactly how we got here. My name is Emily Harper, and growing up in the Harper household was like living in a two-character play where I wasn't even listed in the program. My older sister Claire was the star, blonde, bubbly, straight-A student, varsity cheerleader, the whole package. Dad worshipped the ground she walked on. Every dinner conversation revolved around Claire's latest achievement. Claire got accepted into Honor Society. Claire scored the winning goal. Claire needs new equipment for her photography hobby. Here's $5,000, sweetheart. Meanwhile, I sat quietly at the end of the table, pushing peas around my plate, invisible. It wasn't that I was a troublemaker. I got good grades, stayed out of drama, worked part-time jobs to buy my own clothes, but nothing I did ever registered. When I won the regional science fair in 10th grade, Dad glanced at the trophy and said,
"That's nice, Em. Hey, Claire."
"Tell me more about that college scout who came to your game." My blood was boiling that night, but I swallowed it like I always did. Mom tried to balance things out with quiet encouragement, but she was outnumbered and outvoiced. Dad's favoritism was blatant, unapologetic, and relentless. By the time we hit college age, the gap became a canyon. Claire got a brand new BMW for graduation. I got a used laptop and a good luck pat on the back. Dad paid every cent of Claire's tuition at an elite private university, plus sorority fees, study abroad trips, designer wardrobe, the works. Me, I took out loans, worked 2 jobs, and went to the state school 30 minutes from home so I could keep waitressing nights and weekends. I remember calling home once, exhausted after a double shift, asking if maybe, just maybe, they could help with one semester's books. Dad laughed. Actually laughed. "Emily, Claire's program is expensive. We're stretched thin, supporting her future. You're smart, you'll figure it out." Click. Call ended. That conversation lit something inside me. Not just hurt, rage. A slow-burning, focused rage that kept me awake, coding until dawn in the library. See, I'd always loved tech, building little apps and websites in high school for fun. While Claire partied in Greece on Dad's dime, I taught myself full-stack development, machine learning, everything I could scrape from free online resources. I interned unpaid at startups just to get experience. I networked like my life depended on it, because in a way it did. Fast forward 4 years. Claire graduated with a liberal arts degree and a cushy entry-level job at Dad's friend's marketing firm, 6-figure, starting salary, company car, the whole golden parachute. I graduated summa cum laude with crushing debt and 0 family celebration. Dad threw Claire a lavish graduation party at the country club. Over 200 guests, live band, ice sculptures. I got a text, "Congrats, kiddo," with a single balloon emoji. I didn't even go home that weekend. I stayed in my tiny apartment and submitted my 10th pitch deck to angel investors. And then the first crack appeared in Dad's perfect world. Claire's dream job? She hated it. Quit after 8 months to find herself. Moved back home at 23. Dad didn't blink. Turned the basement into a luxury suite for her. Bought her a new wardrobe for interviews she'd eventually do. Meanwhile, my little side project, an AI-powered social media analytics tool I'd built from scratch, was starting to gain traction. A small seed round came through, then another. I incorporated, hired my first 3 employees, and never told a soul in my family. Years ticked by. Claire bounced from passion to passion. Yoga instructor certification, boutique clothing line that folded in 6 months. Influencer phase with 10,000 followers Dad paid bots to boost. Each failure met with more money. From Dad, he remortgaged the house twice to invest in Claire's future. Mom begged him to stop, but he'd snap. "Claire just needs one big break. She's special." I, on the other hand, was building something real. My company, Harper Insights, yeah, I kept the name on purpose, exploded during the pandemic. Brands needed to understand shifting online sentiment fast, and our tool was the best on the market. Series A, Series B, unicorn status whispers. I stayed quiet. No social media posts about funding rounds, no family updates. Then came the mid-story twist that still makes my skin crawl when I think about it. Last year, right before everything blew up, I got a call from Mom in tears. Dad's business, the commercial real estate, firm he'd run for 30 years, was tanking. Bad investments, market crash, clients pulling out. He was facing bankruptcy. And his solution? He wanted to sell the family lake house, the one place I actually had happy childhood memories, to bail himself out and, of course, keep funding Claire's latest wellness coaching venture. But here's the gut punch. The lake house had been left to me and Claire jointly by Grandma 10 years earlier. Dad had always acted like it was his to control, but legally we each owned half. He scheduled a family meeting at the house itself, thinking the setting would soften me up. I drove up that weekend, heart pounding. Claire was already there, lounging by the dock in a new bikini. AirPods in, scrolling TikTok. Dad greeted me with a forced hug and immediately launched into his pitch. Emily, you're doing fine, I'm sure, but Claire and I have real vision for this wellness retreat concept. We just need the capital from selling this place. You'll get your half fair and square and we'll all move forward. I stared at him. This house was Grandma's gift to me and Claire. Not to you. Claire rolled her eyes. God, Em, don't be difficult. It's just a house. I need this opportunity. I asked how much debt they were really in. Dad finally admitted, over $2 million. Mostly from propping up Claire's failed ventures and his own bad deals. He actually had the nerve to say, if you'd been more supportive growing up, maybe Claire wouldn't have needed so much help. Can you even imagine? My hands shook as I stood up. I'm keeping my half. Sell Claire's if she wants. I'm not signing anything. The screaming match that followed was nuclear. Dad called me selfish. Ungrateful, said I'd always been. Jealous of Claire's natural charisma, Claire. Cried dramatically about how I was ruining her dreams. Left that night and didn't speak to any of them for months. That's when I decided it was time. My company was preparing for a massive product launch and a new funding round that would push valuation past $500 million. I quietly bought Claire's half of the lake house through a trust, paid her fair, market value plus a little, extra so she couldn't cry foul. She signed without hesitation, thinking she'd hit the jackpot for her next scheme. Now I owned it outright, but that was just the appetizer. The real revenge came at the annual regional tech conference, the one Dad had attended for decades to network for his real estate business. He still had some pride left. Still showed up in his tailored suit trying to glad-hand investors. This year, I was the keynote speaker. I hadn't told anyone in the family. When Dad walked in and saw my face 30 feet tall on the main stage banner, he froze. Claire was with him, dragged along to network for her brand. I stepped on stage to a standing ovation. My talk was about building resilient systems in chaotic markets, using my own journey as the through line. I didn't name names, but every slide had subtle digs. Screenshots of early pitch decks, stamped rejected by family, photos of my cramped first office, quotes about overcoming environments that undervalue potential. The audience ate it up. Then came the announcement, live on stage. My co-founder revealed the new $450 million valuation and a major partnership with one of the biggest brands on earth. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted questions at me. Dad tried to approach afterward during the mixer, face red, clutching a drink. Emily, we didn't know. Claire stood behind him, mouth actually hanging open, phone in hand forgotten. For the first time in my life, they looked small. I smiled politely, the same smile I'd practiced in the mirror for years. Dad, Claire, good to see you. Enjoy the conference. And I walked away, surrounded by people who actually saw my worth. Later that month, Dad's firm officially folded. He lost the house, the cars, everything except what little Mom had protected. Claire's latest venture? Crickets. And me? I turned the lake house into a company retreat, where my team, mostly first generation, college grads and kids, who'd been counted out, come to brainstorm and recharge. Every time I sit on that dock at sunset, I think about Grandma, who always told me quietly, "You're enough. Emily, just keep going." Dad reached out once after everything collapsed. A long email about mistakes, regret, asking if we could talk. I haven't replied yet. Maybe one day I'll feel generous enough for coffee. But honestly, watching his pride, the one thing he valued more than me, crumble, in public while mine soared, that was worth every sleepless night, every loan payment, every tear I swallowed alone. Phew, did this one give you that satisfying chill?